Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is really cool. So, as soon as I saw that Corrupt was in the Brothers' War, my brain got grinding, the gears were turning, and I started looking back at when I used to play Standard in Physical, back in the day when Corrupt first was released during the I believe it was the years of Saga Block. And Monoblack Control was huge back then, and I thought to myself, like, what if I try to recreate that sort of archetype now? And what I actually landed on was sort of Mono Black Control. It's about as close as you can get to Mono Black Control while still being Grixis. But it's got some really, really clever inclusions, and I'm excited to check it out. So, if you haven't already, like the video. It super helps us out. It helps us defeat the monster that is the YouTube algorithm, which any of you guys know, if you follow other content creators, it's a goddamn beast, and it really helps us out. So, like the video, subscribe if you haven't. When we get to 1,000, we're going to do the 24-hour marathon stream to celebrate 1,000 subscribers, and we're going to be cracking packs on stream for anyone that can beat me in games. Anyone can challenge me. You beat me, I crack a pack, I mail you the cards. It's going to be awesome. But without further ado, let's get to the deck. Alright, so I've been having an insane amount of fun with this deck. So the whole goal was to recreate Mono Black Control as close to its original form back in the day as possible, but in current day Standard. And it's surprisingly worked well, and the deck has been actually pretty powerful. And there's this interesting tug of war between making this Mono Black and also making it Domain, and I'll get to that in just a second. So the two key cards that we're building around here is, first of all, we've got Corrupt. Now, Corrupt is a card that was reprinted in the Brothers' War. It's 1 black and 5 mana for a sorcery, and it deals damage to any target equal to the number of swamps you control, and then you gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. So, Corrupt has always been an important card in Mono Black Control for a number of reasons. So, first of all, the most obvious is that it's a really good finisher. It's a way to just finish off your opponent, especially if you get a second one. It's very easy to just close out games with Corrupt by itself sometimes. But the fact that if you're in a pinch, it can also double as removal. Remove a really difficult threat and drag out the game longer for you to find more things you need to reestablish board control is also important. And the fact that it can gain you a ton of life is also important as well, because if aggro's starting to catch up on you and you have one well-placed Corrupt, again, you gain enough life that you're dragging out the game a number of turns, which sometimes is just enough to just get there and pull in enough value with the rest of your cards to finally get to another win condition, or to finally get to another sweeper, or whatever the case may be. Now, speaking of sweepers, that's the other card we have in the deck. This is dragged to the bottom, 2 black and 2 for a sorcery, has Domain, and all creatures get -X/-X, where X is equal to the number of basic land types plus 1 that you control. So what's really interesting about this deck is you want as many swamps as possible for Corrupt, because for every swamp you have, you're doing an extra point of damage and gaining an extra point of life. But you also want all 5 land types for drag to the bottom, so that you're able to kill as big of creatures as you possibly can. That was probably not correct grammar. I don't care. Anyway, the deck's super interesting because of that. We've run 12 swamps, 4 Raffine's Tower, 4 Xander's Lounge, and 4 Ziatora's Proving Ground. So what's cool here is that we've got 12 tri-lands that count as their land types. And if you look at the 3 different ones that are included as swamps out of the 5 tri-lands, among these 3 lands, all counting as swamps, we have 8 red sources and 8 blue sources. So I realized early on, even though we're going to be mono black, it's very easy to splash a red or a blue card in this deck and make it kind of work, since we have 8 of each. Now with white and green, we only have 4 of each, so it's a little trickier. But with blue and red, we have 8 of each, so it's pretty easy to splash blue and red. And we'll get to that in just a bit. So we've got Corrupts as our win conditions, or as our in a pinch spot removal / fog effect. We've got Drag to the bottoms to absolutely wipe the opponent's board. Our other win conditions alongside Corrupt are the obvious inclusion of a playset of Invoke Despair. Now, I hate this deck. This card, rather. I hate this card. I'm of the mind this is the card that should have been banned instead of the Meat Hook Massacre. But they didn't, and we've got it. And if we're building Monoblack Control, obviously this card needs to be there. Now, this is a really good optional or auxiliary win condition alongside the Corrupt. We can usually get them low enough with just little bits of negligible damage here and there that, you know, hitting them for 2, 4, 6 damage with Invoke Despair and then following it up with a game-winning Corrupt is usually enough. But the fact that Invoke Despair lets us get rid of their enchantments, which we can't usually get rid of in black, and also gives us a way to draw cards and dig deeper for, you know, get that many turns closer to our next Corrupt, that sort of thing. Obviously a very, very good card. I wanted to have 6 5-drops, so the other 5-drop in this is Cruelty of Gix, another card that's responsible for the namesake of the deck, Cruelty and Corruption. We're only running 2 here, and there's a good reason for that. First of all, having Cruelty of Gix in multiples is very good, because if you're up against control especially, but sometimes against mid-range as well, if you have a stable board state and you're able to just play Cruelty of Gix on 1, and then on chapter 2, use chapter 2 to find another Cruelty of Gix, you get so much value out of that that you go over the top and you probably win the game. So you definitely want multiples. At the same time, you don't want to go completely crazy and include this as a 4 of, I don't think, because you don't want too many expensive cards at the top end, and also you do lose 3 life on that chapter 2 trigger. So you want to be careful and find, I think, just the right amount of Cruelty of Gix. 1 would probably be fine. I think 2 is optimal because, again, we can find the second one with the first one in those matchups where it makes sense, and then just go completely over the top with value. But the fact that this deck specializes around wiping our opponent's board constantly, whether it be with actual sweepers or with targeted removal on everything they put down, we have plenty of targets for Chapter 3 of Cruelty here to get back from their side, even though our deck is creatureless. And that's the other point I kind of want to get across, is this deck is creatureless control. And one of the reasons that we do that is because if we don't have any creatures in the deck, a lot of our opponent's cards are going to be dead cards. Everything that they have in their deck that's specifically creature removal is just a dead card. So it's almost like they're starting with a smaller hand size in a way. And whenever they draw a creature removal card, it's kind of like they skipped their draw that turn, in a way. Now, obviously, there's ways for us to make creatures, there's ways for us to get creatures onto the field, but a lot of times that's not happening until later in the game, and getting that extra card advantage out of their removal being wasted cards while we're curving out and trying to control the board before we've established the board is the most crucial. So by the time we're maybe making a creature token with a planeswalker or bringing something back with Chapter 3 of Cruelty of Gix, we should have so much card advantage by that point and so much control that at that point it doesn't really matter if they get to maybe use a piece of removal they've been holding in their hand for a while to get rid of it, because we're probably already winning, and usually by far. So very, very cool deck to be creatureless control here and to have this kind of power at the top end. So moving into our 4-drop slot, along with these 4 drag to the bottoms, we've got 1 Sorin. There's a lot of cards we want to try to fit into this deck, and a lot of these legendary cards are perfect options for just having one-offs. If we get the first Sorin, we love it, we generate a lot of value with it, but you know, we don't have to ever worry about having an extra one sitting in our hand. And because we have so much card draw in the deck, we can get to Sorin pretty easily. We can get to all of our 1-drops a lot easier than we normally would. At the 3-drop slot, we're running 3 Lilianas, because it's absolutely bonkers in a deck like this where you're constantly removing their creature base. That -2 to make them sack a creature matters a lot. You know, a lot of times we can slam it on 3 after we spot removal the creature on 2, and when they otherwise would have had 2 creatures to choose from to sacrifice, now they've only got 1 because we've already removed 1, and they have to sacrifice the only creature they have. Or maybe we have a Liliana after we sweep with drag to the bottom, and they only have enough mana to play out the 1 creature the next turn. And it's probably a big creature to try to get as much presence onto the board as possible, and then we just make him sack it with Liliana. So Liliana can be cool in that respect. We usually have way more card advantage than our opponents, so the uptick making us discard cards, we usually make out better on that. Not always. We have to be careful to play around some things, but usually we'll make out better on that deal. And then in this deck in particular, we actually have a better chance of getting to the -6 because we try to drag out the game long and then finish with a really big corrupt. So there's plenty of opportunity to get to the -6 and nuke half of their board. Normally we'll separate all of their non-land permanents into one pile and their lands into another, make them make a difficult decision. If they choose to keep their non-lands, then we'll follow it up with a sweeper, destroy all their creatures, and they've got no lands to recover in its game. So in a deck like this where we have time to really drag it out a bit more, that -6 sees a lot more play, and Liliana is absolutely crucial. So we have 3 copies. We've also got 1 copy of Kaito. This is the only blue card in the deck. Like I said before, we have 8 blue sources. Sometimes we can even make treasures with certain cards of this deck, so it's very easy to just get this into play. It's still basically a mono black deck, but 1 copy of Kaito I find to be really good because if we get it, we love gaining value off of it. We never have to worry about seeing a second one and keeping it in our hand, but we can draw cards off this guy. We can get a token onto the board, whether that's a chump blocker or getting in for negligible damage while we're waiting to get our corrupt off, that kind of thing. So I think just 1 copy of Kaito is pretty good. We've also got 1 Path of Peril. Now this is basically meant to be like a 5th drag to the bottom. Just that 1 extra sweeper so that we have 5 in the deck, just to make sure and cover our butts against aggro. What's cool about this one is we can play it on 3. We can clean up a lot of early board states against, low to the ground aggro decks. But we also, since we have 4 white sources in the deck in the form of the Raffine's Tower, it is possible later in the game for us to cleave this and just destroy all creatures. So 1 copy seems right. We've also got 1 copy of Soul Transfer. We needed at least a couple ways to deal with planeswalkers, problematic planeswalkers, and we do have the corrupts, but 1 copy of Soul Transfer seems right because we do have an okay amount of artifacts in this. And what's cool about Soul Transfer is if we have a Cruelty of Gix down that hits Chapter 2 and we feel like we need Soul Transfer, we have that 1 silver bullet target copy of it that we can grab with the tutor ability on Chapter 2 of Cruelty of Gix. And because we used Cruelty of Gix to grab it, we know 100% we have an enchantment on the board. So as long as we have an artifact on the board, we don't have to worry about the enchantment part. We just grab Soul Transfer and we're able to get both sides of the Soul Transfer, exile their problematic planeswalker or in some cases creature, and also get one of our planeswalkers back from the yard. And like I said, a lot of times that can be just enough value to put us over the edge. Everything in this deck is just stacking value on top of value. So having interesting silver bullet tutor targets like this, like the 1 Path, the 1 Kaito, the 1 Sorin that we can grab with Cruelty of Gix on Chapter 2 in just the right scenarios is actually super beneficial for a deck like this because all of those 1-ofs feel more like 3-ofs, and we have a lot of selection. We've also, in our 2-drop slot, I kind of put this in the 2-drop slot because that's the earliest where we're going to play it, but really it can be anywhere. We've got 1 copy of March of Wretched Sorrow. Now, this is another piece of removal that adds to our overall amount of creature removal while also being a way to deal with a planeswalker if we absolutely have to. But what makes March cool as a tutor target if we need it is that it will actually gain us life as well. And, a deck like this, we've got 3 copies of Infernal Grasp that we're losing life to in our removal suite. We've obviously got the Cruelty of Gix on Chapter 2 that we're losing life to. Sometimes we need to gain life in a pinch. So having that 1 March of Wretched Sorrow that we can search for, being a way we can deal with planeswalkers while still contributing to our maximum threshold of cards that can deal with creature threats, while also being a 1-off tutor target that can gain us life, I think is pretty important. So just 1 copy in the deck seems right. Also in our 2-drop slot, we've got 3 Reckoner Bankbusters. This is a card draw engine that's really important in a deck like this that wants to drag out the game. So we can just draw a bunch of cards off this, gain more value than our opponent, and have more value over the course of the game to eventually just go over the top of them. But also once you're out of your draw off of it, you've got a pilot that can easily crew this as an auxiliary win condition, and you've got an extra treasure which can help with things like I was talking about for that 1 cleaved Path of Peril or the 1 Kaito or whatever it might be. In the 1-drop slot, we've got the 4 cut downs, because this helps us get rid of things on curve that usually cost more than the cut down costs us, and it can be a crucial component for removal early in the game. Anyone that's played against any Monoblack variant has seen plenty of this card, so you know how it works. But the interesting inclusion here is our 4 copies of Mishra's Research Desk. Now, for only 1 mana, this can come down and give us card selection and card advantage. So, early in the game, this serves to make sure we can hit our land drops, make sure we're curving out properly, dig us deeper to the cards that we need to hit. Since we sift through 2 cards and pick a card, it's basically being 2 turns closer to that next thing we need, while also getting the best of the top 2 cards we need off the top of the deck, whether that's to curve into land properly, or having a card that we can curve out into, or just digging later in the game to find a win condition or a sweeper or something like that. But the fact that, like I said before, it's easier for us to splash red in this deck because we have 8 red sources, the unearth is not wasted. And we don't need to unearth it early. We can play the Mishra's Research Desk early, pop it to find the things we need to curve out with to deal with our opponent's immediate threats. And then later in the game, after we finally have our red source, it's very easy to just unearth this, get more card selection, and get more card advantage off of it to basically turn this into a 2-for-1, rather than not ever being able to use the unearth because we don't have red mana. So we can actually get a lot of card advantage between the Mishra's Research Desk and the 3 Bankbusters, and then we've got a Kaito, and we've got a Sorin, and we've got the 2 Cruelties and the 4 Invoke Despair. So there's so much card draw in this deck that it's super easy for us to just kind of always have more cards than our opponent. We have so much removal, we're always dealing with what the opponent plays. The only time we really have some trouble is against other control decks where our creature removal tends to be useless. And in those situations, I would recommend, probably running this best of 3 and making sure you have a decent amount of discard, duress, cards like that in the sideboard that you can side into. But this is the best of 1 version, and it's been working pretty well for me. As I was testing certain builds, we had some pretty bad win rates. The early versions of this deck had some pretty bad win rates, but when I finally landed on this, I feel like I have the math just right now. And since we've had this version, it's been, I want to say somewhere in the 60s or maybe low 70s for the win rate for this deck. Although, I'm not going to lie, the early versions were pretty brutal. There was like 40-something win rate before we finally... if you're playing a deck like this, you need to make sure you're dealing with all the threats all the time. And we needed to get it just right before that win rate started to really pop up. So... the curve's important. Having the maximum number of cards to deal with threats is important while not wasting card slots. And I think this version is pretty good. So without further ado, make sure you like and share. Make sure you comment. It helps the channel. And let's check out the games. Alright, we'll keep this. Looks glorious. Alright. Lead with the tower. Turn 2, we probably just play the Bankbuster. Turn 3, we can play the Lounge and activate the Bankbuster. Unless he does that. But even then, we get a Make Disappear out of his hand, so it's not the worst ever. Let's see what we hit. Well, we can't play Invoke Despair next turn, so we'll take the Swamp. And we'll play the Lounge this turn. Next turn we Swamp Sorin, probably. Maybe we drag. Maybe we drag. Maybe drag is correct. Actually, you know what? Maybe Sorin is correct. He'll probably turn the Wedding Announcement into a creature, and then we can kill it. Let's do this.
Violence is necessary to set things right. You deal with this annoyance.
Force him to overcommit here. No worries, my friend. No worries at all. Drag it. We'll do that. We don't need to hold up the cut down, I don't think. We should be fine. Sarah Paradon. Well then. That needs to die. 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't have many options. So I think we just need to do this. We could dig with the desk, but we're taking a gamble at that point. Taking a gamble. Alright, first we'll crack the desk. If we don't find anything we want to play this turn, we'll play Cruelty. Kaito looks fine. Wandering Emperor. Well, we will -2. And then we will pass the turn. We'll hold up cut down. And when he tries to put a counter on his 2/2, we'll kill it with cut down in response. Sure. Sure, 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 Dawn. Dawn thinks he's so cool.
It's all on the reflexes.
No, Dawn. No. You get nothing. We will uptick since there's no possible way for us to attack this turn. Leyline Binding in response. It's kind of weird. Guess we'll discard the research desk since we can use it, and then we'll Cruelty on 1. See if he's got a creature in his hand. Nope, he's got a grasp. That's fine. We're gonna grab and Invoke Despair next turn, and it's gonna be wild. We're just gonna kill everything. Go for it. Connect 4. He scoops. I know. Guys, I know. This we will keep. Early removal. Early card advantage. That's all we need. Everything else will come. We will lead with a Xander's Lounge. Play Ziatora's and Research Desk. Scrap, work, mutt. Kaito. I think we gotta play Kaito, to be honest.
I won't let Kamigawa fill my film.
I think we gotta.
All kinds of connections.
Question is, do we swing? with Kaito. With the token that Kaito made. Do we hold it black, or do we hold it back to block the mutt? I'm not sure. No, that's just going to trigger the Anvil anyway. No blocks. Alright, we will swing. We will draw a card. And then we have to make sure we kill this now. So he doesn't get a token. I think we play the tap land so we can make sure to invoke next turn. And then we play out a research desk. Now he does have some unearth. So we could kill Kaito with an unearthed mutt. And then sack it to the Anvil and make a 1/1. But I'm not incredibly concerned about that. We have so much value coming. And we get to hit that man with an Invoke Despair. Oh, it's just going to do them both right now. Feels kind of weird.
I'm hungry. Gonna get a snack.
If he had done them on different turns, he would have been able to get 2 separate triggers to get creatures out of them. So it is a little bit weird. Let's just do this. Draw some cards. Swing 1. Pass the turn. All of the unearth has me a little worried though about my drags. Seems a little problematic. Alright, he gets to draw a card off Gix. And then sack to the Anvil, drain, make a 1/1. Seems pretty good. Let's see, we've got a Lily. And we've got Infernal Grasp. I think we need to hold on to the Infernal Grasp for the leveler. So what I'm gonna do is just swing 1 and drag to the bottom. I gotta make sure once he has the 8 for that leveler, I've got a grasp ready and waiting. Right, he's gonna draw 2, I assume. He's got 3 mana for an artifact if he wants. He can unearth the leveler next turn. So we have to be careful of that. Which means we need to be holding up 2 mana. So we only have 3 to actually use. I guess we just grab a Raffine's Tower. That seems fine. Play the tower. We play Lily. We make him sack the Gold Hound.
And for once, it's not my fault.
And then next turn, he commits his entire turn to the leveler and we grasp it.
Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
That's the plan. So that we take 2 instead of 8. And he doesn't get to automatically kill one of our things. Elevated. I mean, we took 1 less damage because he sacked it to the Anvil. That's kind of cool. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we corrupt? Or do we Bankbuster? I feel like we Bankbuster. Play a swamp next turn. So we will uptick, discard the Proving Ground.
Overthink things.
Alright, now the 1/1 can't kill Lily. We've got Corrupt ready to hit for 8. Oh, hard casted a leveler. That's
Delay,
brutal.
Nothing more.
That's brutal. At least we got our value first, though. Alright, we cannot drag that sucker. We can corrupt it. Kill it that way. That's really all we can do. So, we're going to start by drawing a card. We're going to... If we corrupt it, he gets to unearth it, though. And then we're just dead anyway, right? No, because corrupt will get us some life. We corrupt him, he goes down to 11. He's going to be gaining life at the Anvil. I'm thinking if we corrupt him instead of the leveler, we could possibly top deck into another corrupt next turn and maybe kill him. But I think we're like a damage off, at least. So we'd get him down to 11. Next turn we do 9, we'd get him down to 2. But he'd be gaining life from the Anvil as well. So that plan is not going to work. So we have to do it this way. And he only gets to kill either the Bankbuster or the desk, not both, so it's worth playing the desk. Oh, he didn't even play the leveler. Sick. Because I've got a drag. Play another creature. Sick. Alright, we got a chance. Alright, we're going to see what we can draw into. Oh, we can Infernal Grasp. Well, first things first. We gotta hold up 2, which means we have 3 mana to play with. We'll start with this. I guess we'll be playing that next turn. We can do that at instant speed. We'll pass. He wants to come in with the leveler, kill our Bankbuster, get us down to 5. I'm pretty sure. Then sack it to the Anvil, get us down to 4. Grasp. I don't think it's worth it for him to sack it. He drains for 1 instead of me taking 2 for my own grasp. Like, the position he's in, I think he wants my life to be as low as possible. I don't think he cares about gaining the life as much as he does about doing an extra point to me. Or at least he shouldn't. So I don't think he should sack it to the Anvil. But hey, what do I know? I only work here. Alright, -2 to get rid of this boy.
You think you can win?
Then we will crew. Swing for 4. We could do a big corrupt, but we don't need to. Our life is in a very healthy spot. We're going to play the Bankbuster. We're going to draw off the Bankbuster. Oh, right, I should have Invoke Despair. I completely forgot about the Invoke Despair. Yeah, I should have Invoke Despair. None of the Bankbuster Mishra's Research stuff. But I missed it. And I still think we're fine. Throat. Path of Peril. Don't think we're gonna need that. So that was my big mistake. I should have Invoked Despair. This would be gone. He would have 4 less life, and I would have 2 more cards. And I would still have the Bankbuster in my hand. Well then. That's a Power Stone. We will draw with the Power Stone. Another land. We will uptick. Dump the swamp. We're gonna cut this down. And then we'll do a Mishra's Research Desk. The reason I'm cutting that down is because I don't want him to sack it to the Anvil next turn and get another one. Take the drag. If he goes wide with creatures, we use it. If not, it goes away, but it keeps him from playing creatures this turn, which is almost as good. Uh-oh.
Fine. I know when I'm not wanted.
We are very close to dead. Five, 6. 2 mana away from a double corrupt. A freaking double corrupt. We want to do this at instant speed so we have a blocker for the leveler, I think. In fact, I don't even think we bother to kill the leveler. This is what we'll do. tempting, but no. No, 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 no. Drag to the bottom. We could kill the leveler by dragging and then using our power stones to draw a card off this, make the 1/1 pilot, crew the other Bankbuster, swing in. He has to block. But he gets to unearth the leveler next turn. So it doesn't really do much. We're going to do this. We just need to make sure we hold up 2 mana to activate that Bankbuster at instant speed. But other than that, we can do whatever. And then we can finish him off with Corrupt next turn. I mean, not that we even really need to block the leveler. But the idea is if he targets this Bankbuster, we activate it in response. So he can't target the pilot. So if we wanted to, we could crew and block and only take 4 instead of 8. But we don't need to do that. I mean, I guess we'll crew anyway, since he's killing the pilot right now. Still don't plan to block, but who knows if he somehow, I don't know, if he somehow was able to make another haster coming in, which is impossible because we're already in combat. Still, we will take the 8 and go to 12. He doesn't know we have another Corrupt. Alright. We're going to activate the research desk here. Actually, I should have waited till next turn, because I can use Power Stone mana to do it. Oh, yep. Now he sees it. Ugh. 2 drags and an invoke, but we do have 4 lands. We're almost definite to get to both of them. I think we're going to try it. If we were on the draw, maybe not, but since we're on the play, our opponent only gets 3 turns before we get to drag instead of 4. So even if we don't top deck something we need to play turn 2 or 3, we should still be okay, and we're only 1 land away from our despair. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We'll play the Proving Ground. We might even keep the Raffine's Tower to cycle. Probably not. We want to make sure we get to 5, right? If we top deck another land, we'd probably keep it to cycle. Otherwise, we play it right now so we can drag on turn 4 and then invoke on turn 5. Which means we probably don't grasp. The only way we grasp is if he doesn't play another creature. At that point, it makes sense to just save the drags. Okay. So we play a swamp, we drag, -5, -5. Oh wait, no, -6, -6. Because we've got the green, red here and the white, blue there. Show me your moves, Ruben. My mono black is superior to your mono black. Well, I guess my not so mono black. So I think we invoke next turn no matter what. Man, I am just getting awful opponents these days. Come on. Do it. Mia, kill me.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Good talk. Thanks for the game. Appreciate you. Plays the long reach. Discard. Guess just you. Skeep, skadabin. Cycle you. And then we'll play you. And then we'll uptick.
No more distractions. Let's make this quick.
And discard
won't
you.
Be outsmarting me.
Decline. Heh. You can choose to sack a creature without having a creature. Pretty sweet. Alright, Bankbuster. We will draw. We will uptick. And we will ditch one of the drags.
Think things.
And the turn. This figure, huh? Sure. Sure. We're just gonna drag anyway. Which leaves us with what? Another 2 mana? So we'll draw first. Then we will drag. Then we will uptick and we will discard to Lily.
We all have things we'd rather forget.
Alright, 2 corrupts. Fully loaded Lily. Discard. Discard. Skibbity bop. We're gonna start with a Sorin.
Out of my way. I have a way to stop.
We're gonna cut down the road captain. We're gonna uptick the Sorin. Reveal.
Nothing on Innistrad
Play the
is
swamp.
free.
Draw a card. And then we're gonna uptick the Liliana. Discard a swamp.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Pass turn. Seems pretty good. That's fine.
Watch it.
That's fine. Reveal.
My ways are not for the weak.
Crack it. Oh man. Invoke. Play a swamp. Crew with this fellow. Smash in for 4. And then we'll do some crazy shit.
The others can deal this isn't. Tough choice.
We're gonna do this. He loses half of his land. And I don't see how he can come back from it. He's probably never had the ultimate happen to him. Alright, we will keep this. We have the blue for Kaito. We have cut down on 2, even with back-to-back tapped lands, which is nice. Then we play the swamp on 3, we play Kaito. If we draw another untapped land, we can drag on 4. But even without another land, we play a tapped land on 4, and then we drag on 5 at the very least. Which should be fine. Well, can't kill you yet, buddy. Gotta play my tapped lands. Gotta do it. That's not so bad. We'll go tower. We'll wait until he plays the spell and we'll respond to that with the cut down. Let's take 3. Bump. We'll go Kaito. And we'll make a boy.
Hope you're ready for some
Next turn we do tapped land Liliana.
all kinds of connections.
And then turn 5 we do untapped land Invoke Despair. Kamano, Kamano, Kamano. This must be a mechanized warfare deck. Alright, so we'll swing 1. We will draw. We'll play a Proving Ground. We'll go... I think this is going to be very painful for him. Uptick,
Enough with the mysteries.
discard a...
You won't
No,
be
drag.
outsmarting
Yeah, the
me.
Ziator's Proving Ground. Make him discard one of 3 cards that are left. I assume he's kind of running out of gas. Okay, he is able to discard a land. Wow. I thought we'd hit something relevant. does he kill the Kaito? If there's multiple creatures next turn, we'll definitely drag. Doesn't look like that's the case.
I'm used to being uninvited.
Lily goes to 1. We will invoke you. Take out a Kamano, a Phoenix Chick. Draw a card. We're going to save this as a blocker. We will uptick.
I'm tired of your secrets.
I'm more worried about the Mishra's Foundries at this point, so I don't know if drag's worth keeping. Although he doesn't really have any good creatures to get back with Cruelty, and we have to spend life. So I actually think Cruelty is going to be what we discard here. He has to discard a Phoenix Chick. No attacks. So he can kill Lily, but we basically get to fog if he does, which is very beneficial against a red deck. We take no damage. We keep our 1/1. Because he'd have to swing with the Foundry and the Etching. Plays the chick. I assume the chick comes at me and both the 2/2s go at Lily. No blocks.
Isn't how things were supposed to go.
Yeah, he should have. So many possibilities. If Invoke draws us a swamp, then we can cut down. I think I like going that direction. He either sacks both of his creatures. Okay. And we get the swamp. Sweet. We'll still hold it back. Doing 1 damage with the ninja is not very important. When he activates the Foundry, he'll cut it down. That should be pretty good. We have to wait for him to attack in order for the cut down to work. Because otherwise, instead of attacking, he can use the mana to activate this one to give it +1/+1, or a +2/+2 and make it a 4/4, and then the cut down fizzles. It would prevent him from swinging with it this turn, but it wouldn't kill it. And we want it dead. Alright, we're going to start with the cheapest card draw. The research desk. Let's see what we hit. Land and land. Okay, we'll take you. We will play you. And then we will play Bankbuster. And then we will draw with Bankbuster. Alright, we're in good shape. He's going to get through once with the Foundry, but then we kill it with Cut Down. And at that point, I don't think there's any way he can come back. Cruelty of Gix. Chapter 1. Pass turn. If he decides to play creatures instead, we could always just draw off the Bankbuster and then drag to the bottom next turn. But if he swings with the Foundry, we definitely have to save our health. So we 100% cut down. It is going, Orange. It is going. The deck is pretty sick. I'm enjoying it. Activates the Foundry. Again, we have to let it attack. Search the library for corrupt. Thank you. Corrupt you. Now you have no hope, mono red. 14 is just too much. That's my alarm! Be quiet, phone! Phone doesn't know when to shut up. Just doesn't. Alright, another swamp. We will grab, I guess, a Swift Spear. We will draw off the Bankbuster. We will draw off the research desk. We'll take Corrupt, because we can play it next turn. Play a Swamp. Swing one. We will cycle the Lounge. Here it is. Here's your end. It's just waiting. One, two, three, four, five, six. Just want to hit another swamp. Thank you. Swamp. Corrupt. Thank you, sir. I bid you good day. Alright. This is keepable. I'd prefer to have a 1 or 2 drop removal spell in my opening hand, but we've got 2 cheap on curve card draw sources, so we can keep this and make it work. We'll start with the tower. Probably go Bankbuster on 2. Unless we want to play the Lounge and just drop the research desk. That's a possibility. I think it would be better to play the Bankbuster. Next turn, drop the portal. Be able to draw with the Bankbuster and play the research desk. Depends how quickly we need to use this drag to the bottom. Oof. Oof. That's problematic. That's problematic. I mean, we'll still get there. It might even help us because we play our sweeper a turn later and hit even more creatures. As long as we can survive decently up until then. Right, we're going to start by drawing a card here. Well, let's get you down. We'll play Swamp next turn and drag everybody. Vicious Farmhand and Guardian of Dominaria. Perfect. So we'll go to 14, which is plenty of life. And we'll nuke his board. Drag. Lots of card draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more cards, basically. Worth of card draw. We've also got some corrupts going on. I think we start with this. Liliana. I do like me some Liliana.
A fight?
We'll play the
And
Proving
you
Ground.
think you can win?
We will uptick. Discard Thrawn Portal.
I'm tired of your secrets.
And, I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we can play a Research Desk. If we were playing against Control, I'd be wary of it because of Farewell. But we're not playing against Control, so
I am the Emperor.
we should be fine.
And I will protect my people. May your blade strike true.
Alright. Do we chump block for Lily? Possibly. Makes a 2/2. Draws a card. That's fine. Plays Adeline. Well then. We'll block here. Go to 2.
Be more annoying.
Let's crack this, see if we can find a sweeper again. No such luck, but we do have a grasp. That's probably necessary. So that gives us 4 other mana to use. Try to save as much mana as possible in case we hit something. Another grasp. Alright, we've got 2 grasps. So we'll use the first one now. Guess we go... and then we uptick. Dump the Cruelty. I think we'll be okay. He has to swing everything at the Liliana now. Well, no, I guess he could put a counter on one of his dudes. Intrepid Adversary. Oh boy. That is certainly going to be beefy. We need another sweeper. There's 3 more drags in this deck.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Whatever. Luck favors the foolish, after all.
1, 2, 3. If we play Research Desk, we have a chance of finding a dragon still having the mana left for it. but then we can't play anything else. If we corrupt, we can kill the adversary and gain a bunch of life back. I think that's just what we have to do right now. Buy us a little bit of time. Oh god. Good thing he doesn't have 3 mana left over. He's not going to want to waste his adversaries, so he'll play out a farmhand. We just need a drag. We need to top deck a drag, and we'll be fine. Counter.
Your training.
Hopeful Initiate. And he's really going all out. Need that drag. Not quite. We could corrupt, kill a Sarah Paragon, gain 7, go to 13, but he still swings for what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he probably flips this, so 12? We'd be barely alive. Barely. And he'd be bringing... No, because he's going to bring back the adversary and buff his whole team. Well, no, because we kill the Paragon. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Be 13. Be 13 he'd hit us for, which is too much. So we have to hit a drag off the research desk. It's our only chance. There it is. Good night. Well, that feels good. A little bit of breathing room.
We must protect the people.
Alright. Take out the rest of his field. Draw another card. I'd love to corrupt right now, but he scoops. Awesome. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. We are pushing hard for that 1,000 subscriber mark, so please consider subscribing. Hit that button. There's a circle in the middle over there. Hit that. Subscribe. Tell all your friends to do it. Thank you. Also, give this video a like so more people can see it. If you'd like more PlayStation and console game coverage, we've got that down below. And if you'd like more Magic the Gathering coverage, there's more of that somewhere off over that way. Do all the things.